Modern Warfare 2 is right around the corner and is going to set the gaming world on fire. Whether or not it's a dumpster fire remains to be seen, which means time is running out for the 2019 edition of Modern Warfare, and there's a certain question that's been bugging me that needs to be answered. Let's give it a go. This challenge works like every other without taking damage video that I have done for this series. If splotches of jelly trickle down into my eyeball because of bullet bills, I reset to the last checkpoint. Damage is taken via gunfire, grenades blowing up, failed challenges out of my control, suicide, fire, holding a cinder blocks. Wait, what? Wow, we are a fragile species. You start off playing as a guy named Alex. I don't know why his name is in quotation marks. Luckily, it's not Alex Jones because that guy. With the battalion on my side, you probably cannot take damage here, but I made sure that baby's first kill didn't end up in utter embarrassment. I called it an airstrike on some base that we're gonna raid because I like blowing shit up. The goal here is to find some funny gas and hoard it for ourselves because inhaling helium is kinda funny. Despite being half orange at this point, this guy tried to shoot me. I had none of that and gave him 2 bullets as an early Christmas gift. You'd be hard pressed to find an ounce of adequacy amongst my compatriots, and yet the powers that be decided to team us up together. Apparently, I'm the only one capable of shooting out that MG to get us moving. It's like I'm playing online team deathmatch. I go 50-0, and every enemy on the other team goes about 2-15. That math probably doesn't add up, but they seemingly change the rules every year. Last time I played was first team to 75 kills in 6 vs 6. Keep in mind that I'm playing this on the easiest difficulty, which explains why I'm so good at this game. The MG camper's last breath was taken, I have a mask on now, and we're fighting in pitch black darkness. Why would they copy how I keep my room 23 hours a day? Do not ask how I can see the strawberry jelly on my face in the dark. Some questions you aren't prepared to handle the answer to. We had clear instructions not to engage the Russian army. Some fools engaged on us, who turned out to be the Russian army anyway. I am officially scared. They enacted vengeance faster than I could figure out what I wanted for breakfast this morning, shot a missile at my car because they like blowing shit up. Somehow I took no damage, and I was the only man left kneeling so I can complete the first mission and find myself in a vehicle as the second video game protagonist in 2 missions. Kyle Garrick, what a handsome man he is, loaned out some money to people in need, and it was now time to pay up. They resisted, so I executed them. It failed the mission. I had a legitimate misfire from my gun. It failed the mission. They tried to drive away and detonated the van, which somehow did not fail the mission. Where the logic in that is beyond me. In a cruel micro level of irony, I picked up a 1911 pistol. The news headlines tomorrow better state something along the lines of "Weapon of dastardly criminal ends up saving the day." The only thing I'm seeing here is that what I did when I failed the mission a few times was somehow much worse than what you are seeing right now. We are living in a simulation. I was under the impression that the devs behind these games ditched the last stand perk like 8 years ago. Why would they bring it back? I took damage and it failed the mission. All around Piccadilly Circus, hostages were stored in buildings and a lot of dudes with guns were hiding. That wasn't very nice, the worst being this bomber who made me take damage, so I cleared them out one by one because being recognized as a hero sounds pretty damn cool. Approaching the last building, yet another suicide bomber ran out in front of me and I took damage. I was a bit further back this time, but I still took damage. I went even further back, this time getting the kill, and some of the cops over there took damage. I was fine though, and that's all that matters. I almost took damage again thanks to a surprise attack from a knife wielding a human, but I got saved by one of the future bullet sponges, Captain Price. I don't think he would approve of my method of dealing with an innocent man in a bomb vest. That thought ran through my head for about 30 seconds or so until the captain threw him off the 2nd floor himself. Turns out he likes blowing shit up too. What is it with everybody enjoying the idea of blowing shit up? I thought that was a me thing only. We're back with video game protagonist number 1. I made some new friends in a cave system because caves bring out the best in people, one of which was practically the queen of her entire country. Speaking of queens, the fact that a different queen really dropped before Modern Warfare 2 did, well, let that sink in. I was told to keep my gun in my pants. It's so I don't attract the attention of bad people everywhere, get my teeth punched in, and probably take damage in the process. I found this cinder block, it became my new best friend, and I was taking it with me wherever I now wanted to go. Through some structures, witnessing a murder, doing the murder by shoving it into the back of some dude's head, all was fine and dandy so far. I put an oil can onto my gun, because apparently that blocks the loud sonic booms that emanate from the barrel. Somebody please fact check this for me. The iron sight on this thing might as well be non-existent, but because I'm the greatest gamer alive, and that is an undisputed fact, I killed everyone in my way. The cinder block stayed on my person. I still had to play the part of a normal civilian, which included me bashing out the screen of this 1997 vintage television. The 90s are now a vintage age, and by the time the 2020 decade ends, the first 90s kids will be turning age 40. I hope all of you feel old now. I was tasked with blowing up some helicopters, and I was committed to using only my cinder block. That lasted for all of about one enemy, as I unintentionally sheathed my knife into this guy's chest. It was a total accident. I'll be sure to attend the funeral and pay for some damages. Fun fact, last week I saw a Reddit post that referenced a helicopter as a quote-unquote rotary blade aircraft, because according to the mods of that sub, helicopters can only be used in times of war. As you probably saw, I took damage a lot of different times, so I just practiced my dart throwing skills, bonked this dude because he deserved to go to horny jail, and blew up the rotary blade aircrafts. I want to make sure I'm not banned on the r/next level subreddit. I attempted to stay hidden from a militia with guns, but they somehow found me on the ground despite not moving. It totally wasn't the cinder block's fault, but I dropped it anyway just in case, and somehow that worked. We made it to this well leading underground, the cinder block survived the entire trip, and now I can die happy. Unfortunately, the cinder block did not transfer over to the next mission, and that is probably the biggest disappointment that I've witnessed since that time I found out the word helicopter was banned thanks to fragile mods everywhere. God, I love the internet. We got granted access to RC planes to crash them into buildings in an airbase. This is probably the time where I should stop talking. If you know the date of this upload and speak American like I do, then you know where I'm going with this. This mission was a tried and true classic Call of Duty mission. One side versus the other, you have a place to get to, you kill endless amounts of enemies until you move up. And this is where I apparently found my antithesis. We're assaulted in every direction, both horizontally, vertically, and diagonally against foreign emissaries who were specifically tasked to take no prisoners. I took damage here. A lot, for virtually no reason too. Gunfire came from about 97 different directions, in various altitudes, from windows, doors, you name it. A metal casing was flying from it. I was having a really bad day, but probably not nearly as bad as Rockstar did with their entire GTA 6 source code being leaked. That must be a nightmare. I had to play this patiently and use the drone attacks to clear out enemies from positions that were difficult to see. It worked in the end, because of course it did. I eventually made my way into a hangar that housed, you guessed it, more dudes with guns and a very red shipping container that was primed for nuking. I didn't have any nukes because no Fat Man launchers are anywhere in sight, so I used the next best thing and cooked a nice meal for some vultures. I tried to use an incendiary grenade launcher against a tank. That about sums up my IQ, and I took damage for it. So in the end, I did what I do best, literally nothing. I sat behind the steel walls of the shipping container and took command of essentially God raining down monochromatic hell. No more reason to talk about this further, damage is impossible. Video game protagonist number 2 had some information that led us to a normal townhouse in a suburb somewhere. To show how massive our ding-dongs were, we put together a team that brought together more guys with guns than actual people living in the damn building. The one target that was seemingly mine in this mission, of course, bruised my sternum. And then the lady he was holding hostage attempted a pro gamer move. Clearly she didn't get the memo that I was in fact even more of a pro gamer. In the end, she had 2 brain cells, both fighting for second place. Somebody please explain to me how a 7.25 double-barreled shotgun blasted out 4 shells in rapid succession. Let's watch this clip again. That might be the shortest mission in Call of Duty campaign history. It lasted all of about 6 minutes, and that includes me taking damage twice. Not much more substance than that, but it gave some intel on the worst war criminal in the month of October of 2019, so I am dying to know what his search history is like. In that foreign land that has that stereotypical Hollywood orange filter plastered onto it, I was looking at something on a different monitor, I don't even remember what it was, and I died. My situational awareness in modern warfare is approximately concurrent with my situational awareness in real life. If you are ever in the presence of me, please do not set up live tripwires around, and please do not shoot me, otherwise I can't make these videos anymore, and while that probably would be good for society, it would not be good for me. Standing behind this tank seemed like a good idea at the time. My brain at one point also thought that eating McDonald's was a good idea as well. In both instances, once I learned better, I made sure to stay far, far away. A lot of dudes with guns fell to my missiles. We entered a large building with a lot more dudes with the aforementioned piece of equipment. And yes, this person pretending to be dead did in fact get me. I don't want to talk about it. For most of this playthrough, a solid 10 to 80% of enemy encounters only take about 2 to 3 tries to get through. After that many times, you generally have the knowledge of the enemy's whereabouts and can proceed to pump them full of lead behind your choice of cover. This long hallway with a minigun stationed at the end, however, was not one of those times. I experienced Tripwire 2 Electric Boogaloo, Luke from The Walking Dead Season 2, Baby's first Call of Duty game. It was a hot mess to get through this one section. We snuck around the building to capture the wolf. Apparently he had a name, I'm just too lazy to remember what it was. The civilian population didn't take too kindly to the capture of a single man and sent dozens if not hundreds of people to get him back. They shot me out of the sky. I survived to keep things interesting, and it was our duty to capture the man we just captured, but with a different video game protagonist. That sounded a lot smarter in my head. All throughout the embassy was a slaughterhouse of pawns willingly sacrificing themselves in the name of a jaded old man who looks more blind than I am. The amalgamation of characters in this room gave me feelings of ecstasy that I probably cannot describe here, and then this buzzkill known as a dusty keyboard all but threw those feelings right out the window. I then had to babysit a damsel who had a keycard that unlocked doors we needed to get through. Why can't we take notes and just ram a truck through some walls is beyond me. I tried to escape, but Stacy was executed. I tried again using different timing, and Stacy was executed. I accidentally misclicked on the wrong spot, and Stacy was executed. This situation here proves that she's as sharp as a marble, and Stacy was executed. I had to distract a guard, so I told her to turn on a printer and make a break for it, and Stacy was executed. Poor girl's just having a really rough day. She got out of there. Barely. We escaped the building with the keycard she gave us, and we sent the wolf to his room for the night. Unfortunately, his family wants him back. I was not about to let that happen. I was today years old when I found out that the wolf's family clearly had nothing better to do with their time about 25 to 30 years ago. How else can you explain all the brothers, sisters, and cousins of the wolf vehemently rampaging into an open field just to get shot and sent to the great big wolf's den in the sky? They wanted him so bad, they even launched mortars from about 10 miles down the road just to knock out the last line of defense. Stupid, but commendable. Even did some damage to me at one point. In the end, despite my absolute best efforts, the wolf single-handedly busted down a concrete wall with his bare hands and managed to escape, effectively nullifying the entirety of the last 2 missions. The next mission has us stationed in the middle of nowhere, overlooking a single road, with a completely custom sniper rifle that does a lot of damage at super long ranges, up to 600 meters. Holy shit. I have to make up for my lack of usage for this weapon class from the Sniper Elite 5 No Sniper Challenge video, so this part was great. After some target practice, where I proved my fruit killing skills were remarkable, it was now time to unleash some very, very fun violence. You can't physically take damage up to a certain point, so this part was akin to Christmas morning in online multiplayer. Once they finally moved up to us, I took a Molotov to the face. Thinking nothing of it, I tried again, this time running away, and took a Molotov to the face. I tried going behind a building and took another Molotov to the face. I ran completely out of viewing range of every enemy and took a Molotov to the face. I even jumped off a building at the absolute perfect moment to dodge the inevitable Molotov to the face, and I was greeted with a red screen and floating fire. In the end, no matter what I did, the Molotov came from literally nowhere and spawned right in my face, just to spite me. If there was ever some bullshit in a Call of Duty game, this is it. Besides that, it was mostly keeping enemy forces at bay, whether that be people, trucks, or even tanks. Nothing was impervious to my gun. Bullets only fly from my weapon so fast, and there was seemingly a never-ending supply of people wanting to shoot me. Hadir asked me to help him, so I did because he gave me a sick gun, and unleashed the green funny gas everywhere. It was not pleasant. When is inhaling odd odors ever pleasant? While passed out, I took control of video game protagonist number 3, the queen of the fantasy land known as Urzikstan herself, Farah. 20 years in the past. Seeing as though I'm not a soldier and, a child, you'd think the possibilities for taking damage would be 0, and you'd be a fool to think so. After escaping with my father and getting home, a big ugly man stormed inside, knocked out Hadir, and shot my father. That wasn't very nice, so I stuck a pair of scissors in his leg. You can't dodge the retaliation attack whatsoever, so I didn't bother resetting. You had to do this 2 more times before a struggle begins. In total, he took a knife to the gut, some scissors to the calf, a screwdriver in his quad, another screwdriver in his upper torso, 3 more stabs to his midsection, and still had the capacity to overpower 2 children. I wish my pain tolerance was through the f***ing roof like this guy's was. We spent several minutes escaping the gas and away from more people, found our way to a truck. I grabbed a revolver to have as my personal defense weapon, and my kill count was now 3. It unfortunately ended on a cliffhanger, and we were back to present day. The guy we spent the better part of 3 missions bending over backwards to keep alive was now on our hit list, and we had to capture the man who gave me that badass sniper as well. We're back to breaching rooms looking for good intel, scaring innocent ladies, and probably scarring several children for life. I had nothing to do with this kill, but the way this dude's face screams "holy shit, what did I just witness" is actual comedy to me. The dry house led us to an underground gopher's den where tripwires ran rampant, enemies were God knows where, and visibility was about 2 notches above pitch black. Hadir spoke to us, trying to justify his actions in using that green funny gas from earlier. Even Bob Ross would have called him a mistake. He's like a coin, flat, two-faced, attempting to be in everyone's pocket, ain't worth shit. We spent several minutes crawling through the gopher hole. The viability of a shotgun in this type of challenge will probably never appear again, so I'm abusing it while I can. All the while, I'm still getting shot a lot of f***ing times. My queen and I got separated, that was a horrible time, and they lit the place up. While climbing a burning tower, my queen saved my ass after certain doom was all but inevitable. We finally found the wolf, I shoved a shell in his face and helped defuse a bomb, and you're done. The next mission takes place 10 years in the past, once again playing as the queen. It was very uncomfortable as we are held as a hostage. A quick Google search shows that she was born in 1992 and was kidnapped in 1999. The current year is 2009. Yeah, this is one of several missions where even to this day I cringe a little in my seat, especially because we were forced in a locked room with an evil bastard twice her size, the possibility of being tased was ever present, and we were waterboarded. More than once. For fun. I'm now going to skip to the part where I actually take control of the character for the sake of my mental well-being. I bent a spoon out of shape, escaped my cell, and killed a man with my spoon. You gotta be real mad to kill a guy with a spoon. Some other people were trapped. I let them out because I needed some bullet sponges and walked right out of my prison sentence. The AI are practically aimbots, and I hate them all. Outside, moving from cover to cover was about the only method of survival, as a sniper was stationed in what was practically a bunker. Somehow I made it all the way through without taking damage, more than I could say for about 90% of other sections in this game. The sniper was dealt with, or at least he would have been, if he didn't manage to get a lucky no-scope on me. Yes, I walked through about a football field's worth of landfill to get to him, only to get shot right before he died. I fucking hate Call of Duty sometimes. I walked through a door and I thought one of my own betrayed me. Turns out it wasn't. I even threw a grenade the second time just to be sure I wouldn't take damage, but somehow that didn't work. Like most instances where the main character is in danger, a beacon of hope comes flying in and Captain Fisher-Price saved me. What a Chad. Other than a couple more enemies, that was it. Goal now was to find the stain who betrayed his own sister and country to take the fight to the big bad evil country that oh so wronged him. Not like I really blame him personally, but this ain't the way to do it. To get to him, we had to interrogate the lad known as the Butcher, who wears a bright yellow shirt for some reason, so you know he's clearly looking for attention. It was a rather exhilarating pursuit. I especially enjoyed the part where an ambulance was kind enough to give me a ride. In the end, we failed to catch him, only because Nikolai and his van turned part of the asphalt yellow thanks to that god-awful t-shirt. While attempting to get away, the van wouldn't start, so we were forced to build a campfire and piss on anybody attempting to snuff it out. The RPG is an ever-reliable weapon of choice, and one can never go wrong with an LMG of any kind. Staying in the back corner and picking off anything directly in front of you, you can avoid damage altogether. Once in the safety of a warehouse, the torture began for the Butcher. Words were said, punches were flown, he didn't care at all. So we brought in the next best thing, some bargaining chips. How is it that a man like this, whom by the way has done some horrendous acts throughout the game as you're seeing right now, even has a family that cares at this point, is beyond me. Needless to say, he's quite the hypocrite. There are trees out there working hard to make us oxygen every second of every day, and this fool is ruining all the effort. Maybe that oxygen will go to someone better now. We tracked it here to a rather lavish estate, and the goal was to prevent World War III, essentially. The general that kidnapped Queen Karim 20 years ago was the target of the rogue gas lover, and nobody wants a war with Russia. He will die soon enough, but the circumstances have to be different. The name of the game aim for this mission was stealth, under the cover of the night and many busted light bulbs. My advantage was the goggles strapped to my cranium. Everyone else sees black, while I see a tealish color. Not one person ever knew I was there for the better part of 20 minutes, sifting from room to room, looking for the man who's more of a dumbass than roughly 5% of the common internet users. To actually take damage up to a certain point in this mission would be like scoring a 7 on the ACT exams. If you somehow died, that's equivalent to a score of 4. One of the hostages that the Russians broke kept repeating 3rd floor 451, so that's about a good elite as any to go on. Turns out that led us to Hadir, and it was now time for extraction. Bashing my way through this door, it's a wonder how I function every day. Oh yeah, and a rotary blade aircraft was trying to kill us. Normal Monday shit. While walking down the stairs, the bandage were dismantled the way out, and you take a lot of damage in the process. This is unavoidable, so I just kept moving. We had to bounce from building to building, all while turning some brains off and avoiding the hovering aircraft above, like I avoid the Call of Duty community. For the most part, as long as you're constantly sprinting, you can make it to the safety of a roof over your head and keep it on your shoulders. All I had to do now was escape into the secret tunnel through the mountain, but someone came pre-equipped with a Fat Man launcher and I took damage, so I let Captain Price take the hit for me, and he ate that nuke like I eat dino chicken nuggets. As long as you time it right, you can keep all your limbs, lacerations are a thing of nothing, and success bestows itself upon you. The Queen's kidnapper had a factory not too far away, and we had plans to destroy it. We got gifted a fairy wand, where at the push of a button and the saying of I wish, a magic missile falls from the sky and carries out my wishes. Perhaps some enemies want to die, maybe a bunker needs to deconstruct, maybe I want to down an enemy rotary blade aircraft. Regardless of my choice at that very moment, Cosmo's wand brought utter annihilation to all my enemies, and that was a thing of beauty. Of course, it would be too easy without some kind of resistance, this time in the form of a little bird. The band flying thing had very good maneuverability and can easily avoid missiles. It took more than 7 tries and a few resets, but nothing can avoid the power of fairy magic, especially when I have the power of God and friendship on my team. Inside, I had my own personal grenade launcher to fling lifeless corpses off of tall structures. We retrieved some C4 from Nikolai, how else is everything gonna conflagrate? And right before we were set to rig everything to die, a juggernaut blasted through the doors, knocking me back and staining my eyeballs with jelly. He was the irresistible force, but a very movable object at the same time. For 80 pounds of armor, the dude moves quite nimbly and eats bullets like they're a bowl of nails for breakfast. Fighting him head on was a disastrous idea, and my MP7 might as well have been a pea shooter. What I found worked was running away behind corners and using the HDR sniper rifle one shot at a time to whittle him down. Because these things are AI though, it really comes down to chance whether you get hit or not when he spots you. Smart movements and many 338 rounds later, and I was the one to stop the juggernaut. He's an ass because he broke my detonator, and nobody breaks my detonator and gets away with it. Alex offered to blow it up himself, and now we're in the eyes of the right-hand man once more. I was equipped with a minigun and an incendiary grenade launcher, and I was ready to f*** everyone's day. I believe I did good work here. The other half of the charges were set up, and we're now in command of the Queen herself. Barky Boy here lost his knife, so I wanted to give it back to him. Guess he didn't like that. I really wanted to hand it to him safely, but he hid his sheath somewhere and I was determined to find it. I found it. Queen Karim got her vengeance, the factory spontaneously combusted, and I did not beat Modern Warfare without taking any damage. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving it a like, or if you hated it, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Helps me out a ton. If you want to support me further, head on over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Deelwheels and giving whatever you feel like. It helps fund these projects. Have a good one. Peace out.